You're listening to the Emotional Abuse Recovery Podcast, episode number 76. So, welcome back to another episode. This is a space where we are going to unravel the complexities of recovery and empowerment after emotional abuse. I'm your host, Allison Dagny, and I'm going to be guiding you on this journey of self-discovery and recovery. Today's episode is really a profound exploration into this myth that often clouds survivors of emotional abuse, and that is the belief that narcissists are inherently smarter. It's time to break free from this illusion, and it's time to empower ourselves with a much deeper understanding of what true intelligence really is. So if you've ever found yourself questioning your worth because your abuser seemed to possess a certain sort of cunning ability or manipulation, well, buckle up because we're about to dismantle that perception. And in this episode, we're going to dive into all of the dimensions of intelligence. And I want to showcase that it's way more than just a singular manipulative playbook. I want to help you see and uncover, right, the things that really involve intelligence, like problem solving and critical thinking and adaptability. And we're going to explore the emotional intelligence that goes way beyond manipulation, emphasizing traits like empathy and self-awareness. And we're going to touch on the social intelligence aspect, creativity, and innovation. And these are all areas where narcissists often fall short, yet we still think they're smarter. But that's not all. We're going to dissect this infamous narcissistic playbook and reveal why it's not a testament to brilliance or intelligence, but rather a limitation. And for those who've ever doubted, those of you who are sitting here doubting your own intelligence, well, I'm here to tell you that it's time to reclaim your narrative. So if you've ever felt trapped in the belief that your abuser is smarter than you, this episode is your freedom and emancipation. It's time to recognize the richness, the brilliance of your own intelligence so that you can embrace what makes you truly capable of facing a narcissist. So stay tuned because we are going to challenge this myth. I'm going to empower you, and we're going to embark on this journey of self-discovery and recovery. Welcome to the Emotional Abuse Recovery Podcast, a podcast specifically designed to help you heal after a toxic or narcissistic relationship. This podcast teaches you to use your subconscious mind to go from feeling stuck to set free. In here, you will learn how to use the power of your own mind to free yourself from emotional pain, move forward with confidence, and experience the inner peace you deserve in your healing journey after emotional abuse. I'm your host and subconscious reprogramming coach, Allison Dagny. So let's get started. Okay, so there's a reason I wanted to bring up this topic and address it on the podcast, and that is because I have struggled with this myself, and I recently had 2 clients who were struggling with this, and I know that this is something that can't be ignored. When we are being emotionally abused, and we are in a situation where there is someone gaslighting us, having us doubt our own realities, criticizing us, making us feel that we are less than or that we are stupid or that there's something wrong with us, of course, then what happens is we end up putting that person on a pedestal. We end up believing that that person has something that we don't have. And this is a problem for our emotional abuse recovery. So I want to talk about how this has affected me, how this has affected my clients, and it's probably affecting you as well. And the first piece of this that is so important to recognize is that intelligence itself, right? The narcissist being smarter than us, the narcissist being more able to beat us in court or win in arguments or whatever that might be, right? This is a myth. This is something that we have been conditioned to believe because of their traits and their tactics and their skills to create this idea inside of our head. And, I'm going to talk about the subconscious mind as we go through this. If this is the first time that you're listening to this podcast, please know I do things very differently. I take a very different approach to recovering from emotional abuse, and it starts inside of you. All right, so let's first talk about intelligence, smart people, right? Intelligence is a complex thing. It's not just one thing, like he's so smart, right? So let me just give you an example. So my ex, who was my abuser, when I met him, I knew that he was book smart. I knew that he was the valedictorian of his high school. He had really good grades in college. He had a wealth of information and knowledge. So I automatically deducted that he was intelligent or that he is smart, right? So not that I wasn't smart, and at that time I truly did believe that I was smart. It wasn't until much later where I became abused and devalued and criticized and all of that I started to doubt my level of intelligence. But his level of intelligence remained the same in my mind. But intelligence isn't just one thing. Intelligence is the capacity for learning. It's the ability to reason. It's the skill of problem solving and being able to adapt to new situations, right? Intelligence isn't just book smart, right? You could say somebody is extremely intelligent. They pass all kinds of IQ tests. They're really good on standardized tests, but maybe they have zero common sense or zero ability to self-reflect, right? Just because someone is good on paper doesn't mean that they're smart. So I'm breaking down this myth today, not only because I want to say that narcissists are stupid. That's not why I'm doing this. The reason why is because as a victim or a survivor of narcissistic abuse or emotional abuse, what we believe impacts how we feel, and how we feel impacts how we show up. So if you are headed into a court situation, for instance, and you believe that the narcissist is smarter than you, and that you're not going to be able to speak clearly, or that you can't think quickly on your feet because they're smarter than you, that's going to be a detriment to you. So we got to change that narrative. All right, so let's talk about some of these things that are, part of intelligence. And one of those things, because there's a lot that goes into this, is problem solving skills. When we have the ability to problem solve, that's a really high indication of intelligence, right? That's a big component of being a thinker, right? Being able to problem solve. And people who can do this approach challenges with creativity and resourcefulness. And we know that narcissists don't do that. We know they don't have problem-solving skills. If there's something going on inside the relationship that they don't like, they usually resort to specific things. And that is going to bring me to the narcissistic playbook, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But first, I want to go through these intelligence factors. Critical thinking, right? This is another major fundamental aspect of intelligence. People who are critical thinkers can analyze things. They question assumptions. They can form really well-founded conclusions and hypotheses and things like that. That's what a critical thinker does. That's a really big piece of intelligence. Adaptability, right? When you are an intelligent person, you demonstrate the ability to adjust your thinking and adjust your strategies based on feedback or new information, right? Well, you and I know both that if you take a narcissist and you expect them to adapt or change, right, that's just not going to happen. But we know that adaptability is a piece of intelligence. So why do we keep saying that the narcissists are so smart? Why are we doing that? It's just not true. Okay, emotional intelligence, right? This is another piece. Being empathetic, right? The ability to understand and share in the feelings of other people. That's a key indicator of emotional intelligence, and that's a part of it. And we know that narcissists have zero empathy. So why are we still saying that they're so smart? Self-awareness, right? This is so important. This is a huge piece of intelligence, right? If you aren't self-aware, you can't make changes. If you don't know what's going on inside of you, are you really that smart, right? Intelligent people are attuned to their emotions. They allow themselves for self-regulation inside of interpersonal relationships. Narcissists are not, right? And even if you brought that to their attention and said, hey, I want to talk to you about this or that, right? They don't want to look at that. They want to project onto other people. They want to distract from anything that shines the light on them. So if these are signs of intelligence, why do we keep saying the narcissists are so smart? Social intelligence is another one, right? Being able to effectively communicate, right? Intelligent, smart people express themselves clearly and understand others. And this helps foster healthy interactions. This is a piece and a component of being smart. And we know this doesn't fit the mold of a narcissist. Okay, I'm breaking this down because this is important. I hope you can see this. I hope you can connect these dots, that what I'm telling you are definitions of intelligence show you that the narcissists don't have those things, which equals the narcissists aren't as smart as what we think they are. Okay? Conflict resolution is another piece of social intelligence. Being able to resolve conflicts peacefully is a sign of intelligence. Do you think narcissists do that? Can they? Do you have evidence of them doing that? Typically, no. Right? Being able to navigate these social dynamics with empathy and understanding tells you that someone has the capability to be socially intelligent. Narcissists typically don't have that. Another piece is creativity and innovation, right? Original thinking. People who have this generate new ideas. They are so creative to their approaches. This contributes to new things and innovation. And, if you're in a relationship with someone like this, they might say, hey, we never tried this. Maybe we should try that. If a narcissist is constantly doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result in the relationship, we all know what that means. That's a sign of insanity. That's not a sign of intelligence, right? Being able to have original thinking and creativity, out of the box kind of ideas, contributes to all kinds of great things. I bet you if you looked at the narcissist in your life, you'd say, yeah, they really don't do that. Another piece of intelligence is being open-minded. This is so important to this piece about creative intelligence. Intelligent people are willing to consider different perspectives, diverse ideas. They're willing to explore unconventional solutions. Most narcissists are so stuck in their ways, they cannot do this. But it's a sign of intelligence. So why do we keep saying, oh, the narcissist is so smart? They're so smart. They're so much smarter than me. Because you've been programmed that way, right? So we're going to challenge that programming. We're going to challenge these beliefs. That's what we do here on the Emotional Abuse Recovery Podcast. We're going to stop this thinking process that the narcissists are so smart. I'm not saying that narcissists aren't smart. There are probably many, many narcissists out there who have high IQs. There are probably many, many narcissists out there who have really successful, high-paying jobs. There are probably narcissists out there who are able to solve problems. However, there's a lot of things that go into being smart and being intelligent. It's not just one thing. So that's why it's so important to know that there are a lot of dimensions to being smart. cognitive, emotional, creative, social, right? All these things contribute to levels of intelligence. It's not just one thing. Did you get good grades in school, right? No. Are you the valedictorian? Who cares, right? Do you have a high paying, successful job? Doesn't matter, right? When we get into the different dimensions of intelligence, then we can appreciate the varied ways, the different ways in which intelligence manifests itself, right? And then we move past this like narrow definition that is imposed by an abuser, like that they're so much smarter than you and that you're not smart. Okay, so let's shift over to the narcissistic playbook. And the reason I want to bring this in is because there are common traits and behaviors that narcissists often present in relationships where they are harming other people and abusing other people. And this is often a repetitive type of tactic. And you've probably heard the term narcissistic playbook because it's almost like when we share stories with each other about what our narcissist did or what that person's narcissist did, it's literally like they operate all the same way. And there's a reason for that. And I'm going to say the reason is because they're not that smart. I'm just going to come right out and say it. Okay? Here's the thing. When we're talking about the narcissistic playbook, there are some common things that I'm going to touch on here, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I am going to brush on it. The cycle of abuse is the idealize. That's the first part. They're idealizing you. They're putting you on a pedestal. They're treating you wonderfully, love bombing you. Then that next piece turns into a devaluation of you. And inside of here, there's lots and lots of things that can happen, but they're creating confusion. They are gaslighting you, criticizing you, verbally, emotionally, physically abusing you, using tactics like triangulation, manipulation, guilt trips, lying, cheating, right? There's all kinds of things, word salads and circular conversations. That all falls under this devalue piece, right? Because you don't feel worthy anymore. And that's the goal, right? That's for them, that is the goal. Then the next piece of this is the discard phase. And in here, even if you're still in the relationship with them, could be like stonewalling and silent treatments, right? That's considered a discard phase. And if they are no longer with you, they may block you, they may leave you for someone else, they may divorce you or whatever from the relationship. That is a discard. Then what happens typically, if you are in this cycle of abuse, is they will continue from the beginning. Idealize, devalue, and discard. So that's the main piece of the narcissist playbook. There's a lot of underlying things that happen inside of that cycle of abuse, right? And not everybody who's a narcissist operates in the exact same way. But you, as the person who was in the relationship with them, who was abused by them, know their strategies and you know them well. You know their tactics because you're very familiar with them. They've probably happened to you for years and years and years. You know them better than anybody, actually, right? You could probably predict what they would say to you in a certain situation. You could probably predict their behavior, right? You could probably think about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps ahead of them because you know them so well. And we don't give ourselves enough credit for this. And what happens is, when we don't give ourselves enough credit for this, then we feel low self-worth, we feel insecure, we feel like we're not smart enough, we feel like we can't go toe-to-toe with them, we feel like we can't battle them in court, right? And these things just aren't true. These are just repetitive, conditioned, programmed beliefs that they made you think. And it's time to let go of those things. So let's talk about how if a narcissist has this one playbook, right? All the ways that they operate repetitively. Well, what that tells you is that this is a limited problem-solving ability. You have a problem, you open your playbook and you go to your playbook and you pick one, right? This is a rigid kind of playbook that is not like genuine problem solving skills, right? Intelligent individuals approach problems differently. I bet you could look at yourself and think of all the ways that you tried to solve problems in your relationship. Maybe we should go to therapy. Let's try to talk this out. Maybe we could spend more time together. Maybe we need to do this or that. Let's try reading some books or watching some videos or introducing different concepts or whatever, right? I'm sure that you have said and thought of different ways to problem solve in your relationship with that person. I know I sure did, right? But they go back to this playbook every single time. And it's not really like a big playbook. It doesn't have a lot of options. It's literally like abuse people. I mean, that's literally what it is. How can I get my way? Oh, how can I get my way? Let me flip to this page and then, okay, I need to manipulate. Oh, I can't get my way here. Now I need to do a guilt trip. Oh, maybe I just need to, verbally abuse them more, criticize them, whatever, right? It's not really that complicated. This playbook is very simple. And I think it's time that we shine a light on this and bring awareness to this, because it's going to empower those people like you and like me who've been abused for so long. Now, this other piece to a lack of adaptability. Let's talk about that. Narcissists lack adaptability. They don't like change. They don't want to change anything. They don't think they're the problem, right? But if you have been approached by a narcissist and they say, hey, I don't like that you're doing this, what do? You change. You're like, okay, I don't want to make you upset. I want to make you happy. I want our relationship to work. You're open-minded. You hear them out. This is the sign of an intelligent person, being able to adapt to the circumstances, to the situations, when confronted with issues or problems. You think and you go, oh yeah, okay, because you're smart, you're intelligent, right? I'm just trying to show the contrast here between how narcissists, we think they're so smart, but really they're not. They may on paper. Remember, I'm not saying that they don't have, multiple degrees or the ability to pass tests or have a high IQ. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying there's pieces that you're not thinking about, specifically about you, that actually make you way smarter. So another thing we need to touch on here is the victim's mindset, okay? And we have a mindset because of the abuse, because of how we've been programmed throughout our childhood, because of how we've been conditioned to believe and think and brainwashed in the abusive relationship. And this will impact our self-worth. So the reality is many, many victims perceive their abusers as smarter than them. And I said earlier that I had 2 clients recently who came to me with the same issue because they're going through court issues with their ex. And there's so much fear about the confrontations, going into court, communicating with them, right? All of this, because they have these mindsets that the abuser is smarter than them. But when we dig down and we actually start to challenge some of these beliefs and things, these could be things like common ones that people have said to me, and things that I've even said to myself, is that I'm not good at math. I can't think quickly on my feet. I'm not good enough to come up with a solid argument. I don't have that level of intelligence. I'm not smart, right? These are just limiting beliefs, right? Because if you have those beliefs, let's just say those are your beliefs, and then you have to go into a situation where you have to face your abuser in court. Well, those belief systems are going to create your level of self-worth and what you believe or don't believe in yourself and your abilities to handle it. right? If I believe I can't think clearly or quickly, and then somebody asks me a question in court, well, I'm just going to rise to that level that I can't do it. But if I show my mind specific examples and times when I was able to think quickly on my feet, because I have lots of them, go all the way back to different times in my life, in college, at work situations, I can pull examples of when I was able to do that. And so then my brain goes, oh, wait, actually, maybe it is possible that I can think quickly on my feet. And then your level of self-worth starts to change. Okay? This impact on your self-esteem and your abilities to be able to deal with someone who you've always believed was smarter than you, this impact can be detrimental. Wouldn't it be so much better, like when I'm thinking about my clients going into court, that if you don't feel insecure and you don't feel afraid that you're going to mess up and you're not going to say things correctly or you're not going to be able to answer the questions, right? What if you didn't believe those things? What if you believed, I can do this, I am capable, I can think quickly on my feet, and here's a million examples of times that I've done it before? How do you think you're going to show up differently in that court session? So much differently, right? So we got to shift the belief systems about the narcissist, about ourselves. And when we do that, then we change how we feel. Because remember, and if this is the first time you're listening, your subconscious beliefs are directly impacting your emotions. Your emotions are directly impacting how you show up in life. So, if we know that, doesn't it make logical sense that we need to get back to our subconscious, figure out what's there, and start to challenge those things, right? Anything that is not 100% true for 100% of people, 100% of the time, is just a belief. It's an opinion. It's not a fact, right? Even if you think it is, it's not. It can be challenged. It literally is almost everything. So if you're listening here and you're thinking, but this seems so impossible, this seems insurmountable, please know I help people with this every single day, and I've helped myself with it also. And I have a really great example of how I accomplished this. I had 4 weeks to prepare for court, and I knew that I was going to go into this, and I was feeling afraid. I was feeling like I couldn't do certain things. I was feeling like I wouldn't be able to speak clearly. I was feeling like I wouldn't be able to stand up for myself. And when I challenged these things, put them on paper, released them repetitively, right? Because that's important. You're creating new thought habits, so you have to do this consistently over time. When that happened, I was able to get ahead of this issue for court, right? It wasn't just like me waiting it out and crossing my fingers and hoping I was going to be okay. No, I prepared myself and I crushed it. And the reason why, I believe, is because I'm not clouded with emotion every time I step in there. I can actually think clearly because I don't have these feelings of low self-worth or these feelings of fear or anger or anything, right? I go in like a third party who doesn't have the emotional attachment because I've rewired my brain. So if you want to work with me on this, if you want help with this, schedule a free call with me to see, is this the right fit for you? Do you like me? Do you want to work with me? Do you want me to be your guide? Do you want me to be the person that helps you through this? Maybe it's not a fit, and that's fine. But how will you know if we don't have a call? So another thing I want to mention here is the piece that I mentioned earlier about self-reflecting, and this is really about empowerment. So when you can self-reflect, you really can help yourself grow and heal. And we work on this in my program too. But a narcissist can't do this. Narcissists deflect. They don't want to look at themselves at all, right? So people who are really intelligent and smart who are trying to get better, who are trying to improve, will often question themselves, and they'll often think like, maybe I could improve this, or maybe there's something I could be doing differently, or maybe I should try this new thing, or, stop this behavior that's not serving me, right? That there's so much power in reflecting on yourself, but narcissists aren't really capable of doing that. And you know that if you've been in any sort of relationship with a parent who's narcissistic, a friend, a family member, a romantic partner, you know this. So when you can self-reflect, then you can actually make huge changes in your life for how you feel. And this helps build confidence, right? So to build confidence in yourself, it takes a couple of things. It takes you, one, trusting your instincts. It takes you being able to stand up for yourself. And it takes a belief in yourself. So if you are somebody who says, well, I don't have a belief in myself, I don't believe that I'm smart, I don't believe that I can beat this person, I don't believe that I'm capable of it, right? That's where I'm telling you these things have to be challenged. Especially if you have to, be in a situation like a legal situation or court situation or something like that, right? You really have to start to challenge this narrative that the narcissist is somehow smarter than you, or that you aren't smart, or that you don't have the capabilities to go toe-to-toe with somebody like this. I often think about how I used to think that the narcissist was so much smarter than me. And I remember my boyfriend at the time, because I was really struggling with things with court and all that. And I remember telling him how smart he was. I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. He's really smart, da da da. And he's like, he's not smart. And I remember hearing that for the first time and thinking, he just doesn't know him, right? He just doesn't know him and how smart he is. And as we started talking about it more, the light bulbs started to come on. And I remember thinking about how I had spent so many years catering to the need of my ex. And I was always like 10 steps ahead of him. I was always thinking about when he comes home, what he's going to need, is the laundry done? What can I get ahead of to make sure he's not going to get upset about, right? So I was able to predict a lot of things that would happen based on what I knew about him, based on his playbook, all the patterns, all the repetitive nature of the things that he did and his behaviors. I was easily able to identify those things in the relationship. So why did I think now that I wouldn't be able to do that? That didn't make any sense. I was awesome at it. I was really good at it. And you probably were too. So now we're in a situation where we got to get ahead of it. It's like a chess game, right? You got to think several steps ahead of them. But we believe for some reason, because we've been programmed by them or just, conditioned by them, that we're not capable of that. Because we have this belief that we're not smart, or we have this belief that we can't do it, or that we, are somehow inferior. And that's just not true. So when I remembered the things that I was capable of doing, and I thought, oh, wait, I was totally able to do this in the past. Why can't I do it now? And I can, and I do, and I have many, many times, right? So it's all about shifting your perspective. It's all about looking at things in a different way. And for a lot of my clients, this can be really difficult because your brain is on such this like strong, deep loop or this groove that's telling you something that you've never challenged before. And hello, this is where I come in because I'm really skilled and have a lot of experience looking at other possibilities and asking the questions and saying, well, what about this? And what about that? And then that's where I see my clients, like their eyes light up and they say, I've never thought about it like that. I've never considered that. And guess what? When you start to do that, the neural pathways in your brain start to take a different route. A route that feels confident, a route that feels secure, a route that knows that you're capable and that you're smart, right? And so then all of a sudden, the other things that we were thinking about this other person being superior in any sort of way start to crumble. And then you become empowered. Okay, so just remember, intelligence comes in various forms. I'm busting this myth that the narcissists are smart, okay? I don't believe it. And actually, my ex, I call him Stu for short, for stupid, because, I don't mean that to be, rude or anything. I don't like saying his name. And so it's just become this like sort of funny nickname that I use. And it reminds me too, he's not smart. He's not. I am the one that needs to recognize the level of intelligence that's the reality, right? Because intelligence comes in various forms. I might not be the one that has the highest IQ, but I have a lot of other things that prove that I'm intelligent. And you do too. So let's start embracing those things. Let's start rejecting these false narratives that are imposed by the abusers to keep us in a position of submission. We need to reject these ideas. We need to challenge these things that we've been believing about ourselves and about them. So, if you'd like my help, if you want support on this, I'd be happy to have a call with you. You can schedule it from the link in the show notes. It's totally free, 30 minutes. We'll chat and see if this is the right fit for you in your recovery. I hope this episode has been helpful to you. I hope it's opened your eyes a little bit and shared some new perspectives and things that you can take with you. Please share this episode with other people, and let's raise awareness about this and thrive in our lives the way that we were meant to. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for being here with me today in the Emotional Abuse Recovery Podcast. I hope you found value here with me. If this podcast episode was helpful to you, I'd love for you to hit subscribe and leave me a review. My goal is to help you go from feeling stuck to set free. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and you can check out whentearsleavescars.com for more resources and information to help you with your own emotional abuse recovery. Until next time, here's to believing in